So let's shift gears and go over to the West and talk about them a little bit. Let's start with the first matchup with number 4 seed, your team, Sexy Coco, taking
number 1 seed.
Sorry, number 1 seed. My mistake.
Get your shit together, Gronk.
My mistake. The number 1 seed, Sexy Coco, taking on the number 4 seed in Player Haters Ball. The trio of Felix, Javon, and Laurent.
One half of Joey and the Pussycats.
One half of Joey and the Pussycats breaking off.
Yeah.
Didn't quite have, they didn't quite have the season they had hoped for. They lost, unfortunately. Get well soon, Keem. They lost Keem in the last game of the season.
You love Keem. Feel better, man.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to, they're gonna have to call upon. I'm assuming Laurent, since he's the one he's the one who took over in the second half of that game.
Right.
You know what? Losing Laurent at receiver definitely puts them in a little bit of a bind.
Yeah.
But they're also a very talented team, so I'm interested to see what Sexy Coco has in store for them.
Yeah, look, the Player Haters Ball is actually a very easy team to break down, right? Incredible defense, okay?
Right.
Defense, 6th in the Bmfl, but 3rd in the West. All right, and they were missing some people throughout the season. I know Javon missed the game against us. We scored quite a few times. Felix missed their last game where they got scored on a bunch by Highlight Factory. So you throw out their ranking, okay? You throw a defense out there that's got Laurent, Jev, Felix, and Alexei.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a phenomenal defense. That's 4 potential Defensive Player of the Years starting on one defense.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, but the problem's clear. It's offense. Okay, Keem's a good quarterback, but there have been times where the decision making hasn't been where you want it to be with that much talent.
Right. I mean, we found out when Airmail played them in, I think, the interconference game, and when we put and yes, it was a rainy game, but when we put pressure on the quarterback, he definitely struggled, and I feel like if you put pressure on Laurent, he might make those same mistakes.
Maybe.
I mean, definitely, you guys hit it. The loss of Keem is going to be huge for them. Yeah, I think Keem had an up and down season in terms of his touchdown interception ratio, but he still has a huge arm.
Yeah.
He would have done well with them. I think, like I said earlier in the show, Airmail, I'd say, is the biggest team by far, just because you, Vince, but in terms of athleticism and outright speed, I mean, you put in Javon, Alex, Felix, Laurent, 99% Burrito that we all know can at least beat PJ in a race on one team. And even with Stephen Liu, don't count him out. A lot of athleticism across the board for that team. You have Belinda Hester, who's a big target for a female. They have the talent. It's just Laurent, without the playoff experience, can he make something happen?
Right.
Can he produce points? And he's going to have to produce a lot of points going against a really athletic and really talented Sexy Coco.
Agreed. Yeah, and like you said, let's shift gears and talk a little bit about Sexy Coco. Like you said, Airmail is one of the bigger teams. I would say the team that could come close to that is Coco. Mr. Recruiting Master over here. Snagging two of the tallest guys in the league and probably 2 of the most athletic guys in the league
when
they show up.
When they show up.
But those guys, you guys really retooled, and I think you guys have some really good talent on your team this season, and it really showed. And you make the matchups to cover those guys very difficult, and those guys actually cause the ladies to get open underneath, and who better than at the helm than Tyler to do so. Probably I would say he's one of the most efficient quarterbacks in Bmfl, more than PJ and Ryan.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look, to me, this matchup comes down to one thing, and that's, can Player Haters Ball first force turnovers? If we turn the ball over, we're in trouble. And that defense can force turnovers. Okay?
Right.
So much speed, so much ability to fool a quarterback into thinking your throwing lane is there when it's not. Last time we played them again, this was without Javon, so take it with a grain of salt, but we were able to go up and down the field. We only had 1 turnover on the day on a tip ball, and our defense has been the best it's been in 5 seasons. Going back to the very first season of BMFL, we had the number 1 defense. We have the number 1 defense again now. If our defense can step up and force Laurent into turnovers, and we can hang on to the ball on our side, no disrespect to Player Haters Ball, because they're a great team, but I don't see how we lose that game if we don't turn it over.
I agree. I also have Sexy Coco on this one. I think it's going to be closer than what people think it's going to be. People are going to look at they're going to look at Player Haters' record, then they're going to look at Coco's undefeated record,
throw the records out.
And they're going to say, oh well, Coco's probably going to win this by a lot. But you can't count Player Haters out purely because of athleticism, and and the fact that any given Sunday a team could come, a 4 seed could upset a 1 seed. You see it all the time. But I just think Coco, their efficiency, their size on offense
Right.
is just going to be a little bit too much for LeBron and company.
I mean, that's a good point that you said that, anything can happen on any given day. I mean, I have Sexy Coco as well, but the thing is that on offense, they're going to be a machine. The thing is, the one con I can think of is just the pressure. Yeah. I mean, we said the East was probably the better division overall, but I have Sexy Coco as the #1 team overall,
right?
In terms of strength, just as a better team. So the whole thing is that anything less than winning a championship this season is a disappointment. You can't say, hey, we had a good season.
Right.
If you don't win the title this season, it's a disappointment, and I think they know it. I mean, I think
we
know
agree
it.
on that point.
I say that's a bold statement.
Yeah. I just think it comes down to executing. They definitely always tend to make plays when they need to. I think Tyler sees the field well, so any sort of slip off, if you try to get cute a little bit, he'll make you pay for that. And then it'll just come down to takeaways. I mean, with Donatello Brown and VI and everybody, big bodies that they do have.
Exactly.
Hopefully for them, that'll come, often, and then they'll ride that momentum to a championship game.
I think it's going to come down to whoever makes the least amount of mistakes.
Exactly. Exactly. So if they can if they can just at least beat themselves and overcome any sort of pressure they would have going into playoffs, it should be smooth sailing for them.
So I got Coco going the next round. I'm assuming you have.
I have us in a very tight game now. I have us in a tight game.
How about you, Coco?
I have you guys. Tyler, I have more confidence in you than you do. I have you guys actually putting a little bit of hurt on them. Maybe a little inexperience at the quarterback level for players ball, or some confusion on what to do. I'm not too sure how they move the ball versus a regular team, let alone the #1 defense. And last time you guys had the #1 defense, it was the first season. Correlation to that, you guys were the champions that season. So bodes well for you guys so far.
I hope so.
All right, let's shift gears and go on to the next matchup, which I think is probably the best matchup in the first round,
right.
By far.
Yeah.
I think Chicks and Dicks versus Highlight Factory. 2 versus the 3, with Chicks and Dicks being the 2 and Highlight Factory being the 3. I personally have Highlight Factory as my dark horse for this playoff. I think they're a very underrated team. They're loaded with talent. Like, their name really is Highlight Factory for a reason. They are loaded with talent, and I think they had 2 straight weeks of Play of the Week because of just great plays made by their players.
They're explosive.
They're a very explosive team, and when you can't stop an explosive team, they're going to make you pay.
Yeah.
And I think that in order for them to win, they're going to have to rely on that explosive offense against a team like Chicks and Dicks, who I know you saw it last week playing them. You guys went up by a ton of points, and then they came roaring back.
Right.
So they're a team that you also have to be careful with.
Yeah, who you like here is?
I actually have Chicks and Dicks. I think the playoff experience is huge, and I think a lot of people probably undermine that coming into the postseason. I just think that Joey Sandman Santiago just has too much postseason experience to let his team get upset here.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. That's actually the note I have under my prediction here. I have Chicks and Dicks wins. Joey has more playoff experience.
Yeah.
And you can't underrate, like you said before, the Sexy Coco game. Being there before.
Right.
It's a different atmosphere.
It's a different game, 100%.
You walk in there, you have that ball ice in the pit of your stomach. You have to remember how to throw that out. Say, all right, forget that. It's just football. Go out and just play football. And there's been a couple times in the past. Look, you talk about the quarterback position. Quarterbacks get more credit than they deserve when you win. Yeah. And they get more blame than they deserve when you lose most of the time. So there's been times you've seen both on Friday nights and on Sundays in the past where Slingin' Dean Emma, and I love Slingin' Dean, you know that, his teams have not performed the way you'd expect them to in big games where they need to win to advance, or they need to win to make the playoffs. I want to see him come out firing in this game.
Yeah.
Put the doubters to rest. Say, hey, I'm a big game quarterback as well, but Joey, we already know he's a big game quarterback.
Yeah.
He brings that experience to the table. He knows how not to turn the ball over in the playoffs. To me, I got Chicks and Dicks in a tight one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Highlight Factory in a tight one here. And I really, honestly, this was probably the toughest game to pick. I literally think this is going to be a 1-point game either way. It could go either way. I'm just going with Highlight Factory just because I think that they will get that one explosive play that's going to be the difference maker in this one.
Agreed.
All right, let's.
So who do we like?
Yeah, who do we like?
I have Chicks and Dicks. I think they have a strong game coming out.
Okay, I'm taking Chicks and Dicks also.
I'll go different. I like Highlight Factory. I'll go different. Okay. So I guess let's talk a little bit about who do you think has coming out of the East? Who has the best chance of making it all the way to the championship?
Wait, sorry. Who do we have coming out of the going to championship?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
For the West, going all the way.
I mean,
I'm gonna say Coco.
Yeah,
I really think they're just.
That's a monster of a team. They just have every answer you ever want.
Right.
Plus for you, I think last season the Joey's team was the one that knocked you guys out.
By 1 point. I'm not bitter at all. It's fine. Really, it's okay.
Very close game. Definitely a lot of storylines going into this. I just think you guys are playing fantastic football. Really tough to stop you guys. I just have Coco in the championship.
Yeah, like how you said, you had you got picked off 3 times against Highlight Factory, but still found a way to beat Highlight Factory. So even you always talk about a complete team, and think Sexy Coco has really been that complete team in the West this season. You know, whether it be on offense picking up the defense or the defense picking up the offense, it's really been a complete dominating performance by Coco this season.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of, and you look at the East. And it's so easy to look at it and say, hey, look at these great, the top 3 offenses in the league, all in the East, right? It's funny because the West really ended up being the defensive conference.
Right.
With even Quickies, who didn't make the playoffs, still had one of the top 4 defenses in all of Bmfl. And, you know, obviously Chicks and Dicks have a good defense. The rankings, you kind of have to throw it out for Chicks and Dicks because they were missing people at different points of the season. Joey didn't make every game this season. We entered your quarterback. It impacts the defense as well. You turn the ball over more. That hurts the defense. It makes it harder to play that way.
Give them a short field.
Give them a short field, exactly. But I think it's. I'm looking forward to the championship game. Obviously, I hope Sexy Coco makes it. But even if we don't, I'm looking forward to the championship game because I think it's going to be a lot closer than it's going to look on paper. Even going and looking at the phenomenal offenses and defense you have coming out of the East.
Well, if you just go based on the interconference play this one season, the East won more of those matchups than the West did. I want to say it was a 4-2 split in those matchups. But hey, you know, like I said earlier in the cast, anything can happen on any given Sunday. You could see, you can see Airmail versus Player Haters Ball in the championship, 4 versus 4. Sure. Anything can happen. All right. With that said, guys, that'll just about do it for us. Hey, you've been watching the End Zone.